Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're well. We'll take a show of hands for questions, please. Mike's on either side of the room. We'll set an embargo towards the end for 10:30 p.m. this evening. We'll start with PLP.
Good afternoon, Pep. Thank you for this. Can I start with how your players are doing, specifically if I could start with Erling, who I know had a bump on his knee for the last game. Is he available for this one?
He feels much better, but yesterday we didn't train, and now we're training. We'll decide today.
And Nico, who took a knock?
The same. We'll decide after the training.
As far as Vitor Pereira is concerned, the manager of the opposition for the next game, I'm told you go back a reasonable amount of time from when maybe he was manager of Porto and he played you, I think, in a Super Cup final. And when you were at Bayern Munich, I think he spent some time with you and gave you some advice after a defeat over two legs in the Champions League against Real Madrid. So I'm just wondering if you remember what that advice was at the time and what your relationship is like with Vitor.
I remember for Porto, was an extra time Messi, I think, scored. No. But it was a Super Cup in Monaco that I remember perfectly, yeah.
You won 2-0.
Sorry?
You won 2-0, I think.
Yeah, first goal, I didn't think so, yeah. For Messi, the first and second, I lost my memory. In advices, I'm pretty sure he gave me the good ones, I gave the shit ones, so... And respectfully, I remember perfectly in Wolves last season when we were playing for the qualified Champions League, the first game, the first half, that I would say they were outplayed to us, and they were much incredible, much better. We were incredibly lucky. Yeah, top class manager. So I saw the games against Brighton, Liverpool, and they were alive. They were good to. Always I had the feeling. So even when we play there with the Sean Dyche, the quality of the players, all of them, Igor and Gibbs White and Hudson-Odoi, Hutchinson, of course Anderson and Murillo, and they have a bigger squad, depth squad and top class players. Sometimes the dynamics make the team sometimes during the season better or worse. It's a question of dynamic. The results is the best medicine for the confidence. The results is what the players are better than you expect, and of course they play for important thing like us, and draw start the important part of the season. When you arrive the last 10 games of the season, now it's really start to be decisive every point. We have 2 Premier League games. We have 6 games in this month, 2 in the Premier League before international break, and it's really important. The condition that we are 5 points behind Arsenal, so we cannot drop points.
Hi, Pep. Arne Slot said yesterday Premier League games are no longer a joy to watch because of the reliance on set pieces. Is that something you see as well?
To set pieces, they start to be important part of the strategies. And before, when I started as a manager in the beginning, was different. We cannot say that in England, for example, set pieces. I remember when I was a young boy, a young kid. Every time we thought in Spain, when the people say, in England, when it's a corner, the people celebrate it, like a goal, celebrate the corner, a free kick. I remember perfectly when I was a young boy, so nothing changed. But it's true that I think Arsenal dictate a little bit how they do it, and it's an important role. And before years ago in NBA, the 3-shot point was not involved as much, like Golden State Warriors, where Stephen Curry started to make 3 points and everyone adapt, and now Celtics do it as well. So many teams. So it's part of the ball, part of the dynamics, and you can say complain, or you have to adapt. And it's part of the game. So I know when the set pieces, the game is a stop. You have to. It's not dynamic and whatever. This part you have to adapt, and especially adapt with the way it's been given and the way it's been whistled and the way it's conducted in the Premier League. So we have to adapt. And that the football is natural. Every country has his specific ways to do it, and every club has his specific ways to play in the managers and the teams, and that's why it's open. But on the other side, I understand completely the reason why Arne say that, and in some aspects, I agree.
There's been a lot of talk about excessive pushing and pulling at corners as well. Can anything be done about that?
In that, I have my own opinion. Remains to me.
You don't want to share with us?
I don't want to share. I share with my players for a long time ago, but about what happened inside of the box and outside of the box remains absolutely to me, and I don't want to share it with you.
Hey, Pep. Just going back to set pieces, you said how in England when you were growing up we used to cheer them and we loved them, but your influence on football perhaps is such that maybe we don't like them as much anymore. I mean, I think that's where Arne Slot was kind of going, right? So do you enjoy that style of football?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's what it is. Listen, it's my business. I'm a manager, no? When it's a set pieces, I'm going to say, referee, please, I don't like set pieces. Go out. So it's what it is. Adapt and do it. And football is, I said before, there are 1,000 million things. And football has not been played in one way since the football has been created. So the football play in England is different in Spain, is different in Italy, is different, and that's nice. That's why Champions League is nice, different ways. Even in that country, every manager play in different way. So it's nice. That's why it's so attractive. So seductive. How boring will be in all the managers and all the leagues play in the same way. How boring will be. So if I like or don't like, it's my business. So if I don't like, I don't watch as a spectator. But it's what it is. I have to adapt. It's a question of how quick you adapt.
Just going back to Nottingham Forest, you mentioned Elliot Anderson. He's one player, English player that we've been very impressed with watching him play, and a few others, Gibbs White as well. Are you surprised at where Forest are, though, in the table, given the quality of player they've got?
Premier League is so tough. It's so difficult. Look at the results, the teams in the relegation battle against top teams, how they are the results right now. And normally, the teams are in the low for different circumstances and low position teams that are not expected to fight for the Premier League. In the beginning of the season, the beginning of the Premier League, always there are surprises. When you arrive at the end of the season, normally it's, the teams that play for the Champions League qualification at the top don't draw much points. Look how many it's happened. So it's really, really tough. So, and always I said, since 10 years ago when I arrived here, I don't judge the teams depending of the position of the table. Never, ever. So I know the quality they have, and this is what remains important for me.
Pep, just listening to how you answered the previous questions on set pieces, I think there's a differentiation maybe between how important teams view corners and what goes on during a set piece, the pushing and pulling. Are you surprised that IFAB at their most recent conference didn't discuss that, about any ways to help referees or help players mitigate what does go on, what we watch?
Aaron, you create at this press conference. I have an opinion, a specific opinion about that. It remains to me.
Okay, so you don't want any help from IFAB there, or referees to get more help on that?
Listen, as to the referees, so I cannot answer that question. I know my opinion perfectly with that. So, and I don't want to create now it's coming on. So now my priority, because normally when you do that subjects, you lose the focus. And the focus, this focus is Nottingham Forest for Victor Pereira. That is my focus. And I start to talk about that subject, we'll be in trouble tomorrow. And I know when you have 10 games left, but I'm completely have a detailed and precise opinion about that. But you have to ask to the referees, not to me.
Thank you.
So,
I think that's very clear, so I appreciate that.
Wow. More than clear.
On Nottingham Forest and the busy run of games that you have, how challenging is that? Because I'm sure there's temptation to want to rotate, but also you want to win every match. You need to assess every game as it comes. How do you juggle that at this time of year when it does become so hard on players' bodies?
Listen, the privilege to be in March, that always I believe in here winter time finish, especially winter time in February. February is over. So March start to be at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. is not dark. It's still a little bit light, and we are in the competitions. So a dream. Again, except last season, like we fought at the qualification Champions League and FA Cup final, and Champions League we're out, and Carabao Cup we're out, so we are there. So how privileged. Just try to, okay, knowing that 10 games left, finally next Saturday against Newcastle, the 2 games against Madrid is, you win, you will continue, you don't win, holidays. So in that competition. So it's good to be here. Prepared again for tomorrow. It's only I'm concerned about that.
Centre ball there for 10:30 p.m. this evening. Start with Martin.
Hi Pep. Saturday was the first Premier League or Champions League game that you didn't have Erling playing this season. How different is it without him? How do you think you managed without him on Saturday?
Yeah, we won 0-1. He's not going to play in any more game until the end of the season. I don't like Erling.